273. Hello, hello. This is going to be a guide to the Retribution event for Overwatch on Legendary difficulty. It really does live up to its name, Legendary. It is super difficult. It's took me hours upon hours. I'm going to be playing as McCree. I'm going to be walking through what you should do at each section, and hopefully you can earn this achievement for yourself. Let's get right into it. First of all, we have this big open room. Once the charge has been set, enemies will spawn from the right side, from above, and from the left. There are only two enemies that you're going to face here, troopers and enforcers. Don't underestimate the troopers. They can burst you down if you get unlucky enough from full to nothing. And the enforcers, pretty simple, just don't get close to them. Once you've dealt with the first wave that come out from the roof, enemies can spawn behind you on the right or left side. It's random every time. A lot of this is. You'll never know for certain what you're going to get. Oh. Unfortunately, our Moira went down there. You want to try and get no incapacitations until the very end. Every time your teammate goes down, it's going to take a longer time, every time, to res that teammate. You don't want that, especially when fighting the heavies. Now, every hero plays a role. Moira, of course, is heal, and I cannot stress enough, Moiras need to focus on heal more than anything. Okay, if you run out of healy juice, sure, do some damage, get that back up. But you don't really want to be sending out your damage orbs at all. Enemies do so much damage, any one of your other teammates just can get destroyed. Reaper can feel pretty useless in the Legendary difficulty. He can do a lot of damage to the troopers, but he also absorbs a lot. He has to get up close to even be beneficial, right? But don't forget about the new update. He can cancel his Wraith form now, and it reloads his weapons. You can use this to bait out an enforcer shot and instantly get more damage in. Or same with any other enemy, right? You got its snipers, assassins, and heavies. He also moves a lot faster. Next up we got Genji. As Genji, please don't dive into the enemies every single time. It will be impossible for your Moira to heal you. You can do a lot of damage, but the enemies will just always lock onto you, and you can get shot down easily. He is good, however, against the special troops that appear later on. And finally we got McCree, your main damage dealer. You want to be hitting those headshots at a bit of distance, you don't want to be getting up close, but if you do have flashbang and roll. Now the waiting room is complete, you're going to see two sets of enemies. 3 on the left, 3 on the right. It's always going to be 1 enforcer on each side and 2 troopers. Simple, you take those down. As soon as you've taken those down, you're going to get your first special enemy, the sniper. The snipers are pretty pathetic. They have 700 health, but they can one-shot you, unless you're Reaper. I think they do about 200 damage. There's going to be 3 enemies in front of you, you can take care of those. When that's done, any one of your damage dealers can move up to the sniper. Genji is the obvious choice here. You can reflect, and I think it does about 500 on the reflect. Your Reaper can Wraith form up or teleport, and your McCree can roll or just shoot. Yeah. Now we're gonna open it up to this big area. There are 2 scenarios that are gonna happen. You're gonna either get 2 boats to spawn first, followed by a few airships, or the airships are gonna spawn first, followed by 3 boats. In our case, we had the boats spawn first, which means the sniper will always be on that first ship. I could easily high noon it, and she's dead. However, if it's the other way around, and the boats come second, to the left of the screen now, up those stairs, the sniper will spawn there instead.
For this part,
once you move into this room, 5 enemies will spawn, 3 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Just take them out. Don't leave this room, otherwise you will trigger the next event. Enemies will keep funneling towards you, such as enforcers and other troopers, and you can take those out with no problem. Unfortunately, for some reason, the snipers spawned. Both of the snipers will spawn on the other side of the bridge on the high ground. There are many ways that you can take care of them. Reaper can teleport over and use his ult. Genji can reflect into an ult. Or you can play the safe route where everyone sits in this room and McCree and Genji take him out at a distance. As I mentioned previously, you hear the tracking sound of the sniper. Do not peek when you hear that, otherwise you will die. Now these snipers were all over the place for some reason, but you just line it up for simple headshots. I can't aim today, whatever.
Sometimes it even suicide.
Once the snipers are dead, you can move on to the next area. Make sure you clear out the additional spawns first, it will just make your life easier. There's going to be the first assassin spawn, and there's going to be a dropship that spawns a few enforcers. I decided to take the high ground here. You don't have to. You could always fall back to the bridge. Now there are many ways to stop the assassin. You can flashbang it as McCree, that's the most obvious. You can dash as Genji. You can fade as Moira. Wraith form as Reaper. Or if it's on top of your teammate, it is 100% the Hunter from Left 4 Dead 2. You can just punch it off. Yeah, they may have stole that, but oh well. Very easy to kill.
For the next part, I'll show you what we do.
This is where the fun begins though. This is where you get your first heavy assault trooper.
Yeah, but
There are a few ways you can do it, but the main one is just don't peek when it's shooting. It is also not necessarily the thing that kills you, it's the additional spawns of the enforcers and troopers. Now you can keep it around this courtyard area. You can easily solo it as any hero. You just keep cover and only peek when it's reloading. Or you can abuse its AI. It will focus the person who shot it last. Doesn't work 100% of the time, but we chose to take the high ground here, and Genji and Reaper took the high ground on the other side of the building. And we just abuse its AI, so I would shoot it and get its attention, it would start walking towards me. When I didn't have line of sight, Genji or Reaper would take its attention, and it would keep going backwards and forth, and you just keep doing this. But also, keep on top of the additional spawns. You don't want those guys to overrun you.
So he's coming up to our
Few ways to deal damage to this guy. There's the obvious one, just shoot it, haha. Or you can go as Genji, and you can reflect all of its bullets into its face. That will do a lot of damage. Reaper is pretty much useless here. He can do damage, but don't peek too much. You don't want to be getting down in these fights. It will be incredibly difficult for your teammates to res you. We did have Genji, though if Reaper did go down, just hop from building to building, so it's not too much of a problem. Another benefit of staying in these small rooms, Moira can use her healing orb, and it will just bounce around continuously. If you point it up, or directly down, it will stay in position, and you just heal your teammates with that. Now, you're probably wondering, where do ults come into play? They don't, really. At all. Especially against heavies, because they all require line of sight, and you don't want to be facing the heavy in line of sight fights too often, or for extended periods of time. Your main use of these ults is to clear out the additional enemy spawns, or like big waves of small enemies. You saw that earlier at my high noon. I did use it to take down the sniper, but it also took down a bunch of small troops. Feel free to use the ults whenever you feel like it. Just use it to not get overwhelmed.
It's a good spot.
Yeah, well that really fucking AI, but it is pretty simple anyway.
I'll use my blade for this part.
Once that guy's dead, you can move into this big domed room, yard gallery. Enemies will spawn from the ceiling. I always like the high noon, it's just so satisfying to watch the bodies drop. Yeah. But also an assassin will spawn. Just a simple assassin, shouldn't be a problem, you know how to take him down. That was unfortunate, wasn't it? That's just the best example of one trooper getting one lucky spray, killing me from full health to nothing instantly.
Me and Reaper would stay up here.
And now the final battle. This is where most teams will fail. You need communication to survive this. It's the two heavies that will get you every time. But it's also random of where the enemies will spawn. They can come from the boats, they can come from the sky, left or right, who knows. There will be a total of 3 snipers and 2 assassins. I'll talk you through each bit because it's random every single time.
That's just what we do when the big guys come.
Not much to say about that spawn. 3 troopers will come out, but then they will be followed by a sniper. 2 snipers to be exact. Very easy to take down, like I said, they only have 700 health. Just don't peek when you hear that tracking sound.
Snipe on me.
For now, I think we should both stand the same one, just so we're
Okay, okay.
easy. But when the big guys come, we spread out. But we have to be careful, like only peek him when
It also doesn't necessarily matter where you play in this area before the heavy spawn, as long as you stick together and don't go down out in the open. Over there, please, Genjis and Reapers, don't try to go in. First of all, it just seemed like a few troopers, not a problem. But then 5 enforcers will spawn and you will die. I like to high noon it, just kill them all, except that one guy decided to walk it up the stairs. Kill him, it's fine. Here's the first assassin. You can try and take this guy down quick before any other enemies spawn. But seeing as we're all together, this bit where we are right now is probably the best place to be. No enemies spawn up there, and it's just fine. They can only come from 2 directions or shoot at range. But you have this little room to the side to hide if you need help or draw them closer.
yeah. The guys coming, I'm gonna go on the other side. Reaper, just stay up there. Just stay there.
Now this dropship should be the only dropship that you focus down. The reason for this is because it spawns 2 waves of enemies, but if you destroy it, it will only spawn its first wave.
Still got one thing left, that's okay. Here they come.
And here comes the first heavy. Notice how Reaper and Genji are on that platform over there, whilst Mura and I on this platform. We're abusing its AI again. We're going to get it to walk over to one side, draw its attention when it gets too close, and it's going to start doubling back on itself. Now, you don't have to necessarily focus the first heavy down super fast, so you only have 1 heavy to deal with at a time, but it is desirable, because you can get both heavies to follow the same path, and that's what we're aiming for.
Need a fourth when you can. Coming up your staircase. Okay, for the res, he's coming up your staircase. We're trying to get him off you. Okay, they're both off your staircase. There's just 1 soldier there. You guys need to get their attention though soon. They're coming up ours.
Yeah, we need okay.
One of them's half. Let's focus on the one that's half, the one closest to Genji. Okay, you
Yeah,
guys
we
need
need
to shoot.
we need to get the aggro.
They're about to pincer us.
We're getting.
One is coming.
Okay, he's no longer coming for you.
Unfortunately, both the heavies had gone off to do their own thing, and B and Moira were about to get pincered. Unfortunately, Genji and Reaper both went down. This means we had to escape somehow. I got insanely lucky there. The main strategy for this was to just draw attention of both heavies, so our Moira could go and res both of our other teammates.
I have both on me.
13, 12, 7. Okay, good.
Yeah, Moira's raising us. I'll
So,
get their attention.
what do we know now?
They're both on me.
The bright side though is both heavies were next to each other. And I also died very close to this wall. There are some walls where if they have something on the other side, space on the other side, you can raise your teammates through the walls, but don't rely on that. In this case, it saved my life and possibly the run.
They're coming towards you, Genji.
I'm going for the res.
But if you notice, Genji had the attention of both of them. No one else was shooting at these heavies. Now, they will charge sometimes, but if you shoot, you should be able to get the attention of both of them.
Shotgun guy behind me.
There's a shotgun guy by me. He's one.
There's a shotgun guy on my body.
Are you safe to res, Mara?
This is the benefit of not going down previously. We could res our teammates pretty quickly.
Are you like Colombia or something? I was getting damage.
Okay, well, Reaper's coming.
I'm almost certain that when Reaper is teleporting, enemies will not shoot him. I'm not sure if it's going to stay like that, but as long as you don't have control of Reaper, they will not shoot you. And this is what you want. You want both heavies on top of each other. Until they decide to charge different ways.
Dude, let's go. We need to focus this guy. He's the lowest out of them.
He's charging.
The two of them are grouped.
Notice how simple this is for us. This is because we were focusing the other additional spawns down as soon as we could. As soon as we saw them, we shot them down. So it's only the heavies on the playing field.
Coming up the staircase, be careful.
Yeah, I'm taking Jago. One of them is going. Genji, let Dessy spell.
One of them's nearly dead. One of them's nearly dead.
Once one is down, the other one should be soon to follow.
Yeah,
And
okay.
from there, it's a walk in the
The other
park.
one is on me. He's in the stairs.
You see him? He's half.
Zap.
Let's not cock this up.
You guys should maybe come on high ground.
Throwing an orb.
They're coming to you.
It's easy to bait one.
I'll come up there to heal you.
I fell down. I fight him. That's bad.
I'm baiting it. Just barely addition.
There's two shotgun guys behind him. There's a shotgun guy coming to you, Reaper.
Like what?
Go if you can.
Big res, big res. I don't see anyone. Okay, nice, nice,
Let's go
nice.
back in the little room. We should be safe there. Let's go in the little room.
I'm gonna stay on the other high ground and shift his attention if he goes up to you guys.
He's very low now.
He's charging, he's charging. He's dead, everybody. High ground, high ground, high ground.
Once the final heavy is dead, everyone get to the high ground.
We can do it.
You want to
Let's
get
go,
into
boys.
the exit, the extraction rather, as soon as possible, because more and more mobs will spawn. First it will be heavies, then it will be snipers or assassins, and you'll just get overwhelmed. And you don't want to lose right now.
Yeah, it's fine, just wait like 3 more seconds. Get in. We did it, boys!
Good job.
And there you are, there's your achievement.
Let's take him.
Plausible deniability, an insanely hard achievement, a lot harder from last year's legendary difficulty event. Now you can rub that in everyone's faces. Hope this guide helped you. Thank you for watching this video, and leave a like or a comment. I'd like to know what you guys think. Bye bye!
You want to try the no death expert one?
No, I think I'm going to sleep now.
The what?
Okay.